Hey, what's up guys? Coach Austin here. Today what we're going to do is we're going to review some videos that my athletes have sent me over X amount of months. What I usually do is I download the video, do a voiceover, and do that little football drawing thing that you see sometimes on TV, and it helps give my athletes some direction. Helps them figure out what they should focus on so that they can improve their swim, bike, or run. If after watching the video you want your swim, bike, or run analyzed with some sort of voiceover, I can help you do that. Just check the link below. Until then, enjoy the videos.
Here we go. We're going to analyze your swim. First off, I want to thank you for the wonderful footage. It's amazing the amount of things we get to go over. We'll jump right into it. I do like your head position here. It's fairly decent. You have a good line all the way across here. And then notice as we're swimming forward, your head breaks that line a little bit. I would like your head to be down a bit more. Also, that we can see both of your eyes. Believe it or not, you can keep one eye underneath the water and your mouth will be level with the water surface, but due to your forward momentum, you will create a vortex on the side of your face in which you will be able to breathe. As you're swimming here, I do like your recovery phase. I do like your hand entry. We will actually go to the back part of your left arm. So right about here, if we look at your left elbow, it looks as if you are just bailing out of the stroke a little early, and it looks like you could push a little bit more with your hand underneath the water. It looks like you're losing a little bit of the forward propulsion and you're pulling out your elbow a little bit sooner than needed. So keep that in mind. Watch the rest of this. We notice that head position. Notice that when you break that alignment, your feet are actually going to drop, and that's going to slow you down ever so slightly. So we'll go ahead and go underneath the water. All right, I do like your hand entry with the left hand. You come down, so I want your arm to stay up here for a little bit longer before you drop it down to there. So what will happen is you're going to enter in and you're going to stay right about there, and you're going to fully extend your arm, and you're going to glide for just a moment before you start pulling down. And I see that your turnover is a little fast, which is great, but we're trying to find a balance of conserving energy as well. Right there, it looks like you're pushing down on the water, which is making your body go up, and it's not helping you go faster. Really what I would like to see, look at your elbow right now. Your elbow is going down the same speed as your wrist. What I would like to see is your elbow stay right about there and your hand begin to drop down, as if your shoulder was almost coming out of its socket and you're actually starting to bend the elbow, keeping a high elbow, just dropping that
Hand.
So you'd be right about here and your elbow would still be up right about there.
And the point of that is to get that forearm right there to become your paddle and push you forward.
So it's going to be a deep, what we call deep catch. And that'll definitely help your speed as well. But we're going to need some more shoulder mobility as well. Watch this next part of your pull. This is at the bottom part of your pull phase. I do see that we have an angle right there and this angle right here of your arm approximately. I would like to see a little bit of a sharper angle. Your arm right here and then your arm right here, which means that your elbow will need to be up a little bit higher. What's happening when you're having a straight arm, you're putting a lot of tension on that shoulder, and we don't want to wear out that shoulder because there's 4 rotator cuff muscles that are susceptible to injury, and we can really damage those. A higher elbow, your elbow's up more, and what that'll do is it'll cause your lat muscle to work a lot harder, the back muscle right there. And what that'll do is it'll increase the speed because it takes less effort to contract that muscle than it does that small shoulder muscle that you're using here. Come back here, we get down to that right hand. Looks like right here, you're entering in, you're slapping the water with that right hand. We want to try to enter in it at a more aggressive angle. If you see, you're pulling quite a bit of bubbles down with you. As you can see right there, you have a little bit of white bubbles here. So you're going to enter in a little bit more aggressively. And again, instead of pulling down, which is just pushing your body up, but if we want to swim faster, what we want to do is we want to continue to catch our hand here and bring the hand down while the elbow stays right about there. And that will actually cause a bend in your elbow, which is sharper than it is now. Left hand enters in much better with much less bubbles underneath that hand as opposed to the right. See right here, notice that you're carrying a lot of bubbles. So you want to try to eliminate that as well. Your feet position here in the back. Notice that your feet are a little bit wide. I would like you to cut up a bicycle tube and wrap that around your ankles. That'll help you keep your feet together and keep you become a little bit more streamlined. Of course, it'll take some practice because feet are only 20% of your forward propulsion, and it's mainly for keeping balance. Other than that, let me know if you have any questions.
Drew, we'll get right to it. It's Coach Austin. I want to review a different part of your swim. So first, what we're going to talk about is your arm angle. I actually really do like your arm angle. It looks solid. I'm happy with that, and good job. Keep that up. So we're going to take a look at your entry here. So you enter in, it looks like maybe 1 o'clock. You might want to be around 2 o'clock. We look at that line all the way through here, and that looks pretty straight. You might want to get your hand a little bit more that way, and that might help a little bit. When you glide here, I think you have a decent glide. I'd like to see a few more inches. I do like the 3/4 catch-up technique, but an issue we have here is with your head. It's definitely too much of this angle here through your cervical spine. We actually want to make it a little bit more level. I should only see one eyeball. So you're definitely bringing your head up too much, which is causing your feet to go down in that direction, which is definitely going to slow down your speed. Next we have here another entry which looks good. It doesn't look like you're carrying a lot of water, which is great. Again, this is a little bit more straight arm technique on that side, which is fine. I like the bent arm, straight arm technique. Actually, a lot of triathletes have that. And then again, we just need to focus on that head position. I should not be able to see both your eyeballs here. It should definitely be more of a straight line. So yours is a little bit too bent up like this. So we need it like that, more straight. All right, good job.
If we need to make any changes, we can just go accordingly. We're going to go over your swim technique. So when you push off, I see here you pop up your head right about there, right? So your head should still be in between your arms, but instead you've lifted up your head a little bit, which dropped your feet. So in order to be streamlined, you want to make sure that it's still tucked in a little bit. Notice how your head is not aligned with the rest of your body. So you still want to have that one eye tucked in the water, and you want to be breathing more parallel to the ground. Also, when you enter there, notice how you actually break that line. If I were looking over from the top, that left hand is crossing over a little bit. This right hand, it looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's crossing over, but that left hand, it's definitely crossing over, which is making you steer towards the right. One last thing is with your kick, you have a really good kick with that left foot, but the right foot seems to be a little bit dead, so I want you to bring a little bit more awareness to that right foot right there. Try, instead of going from a 3-beat kick to a 2-beat, so that one little gallop, strong little kick that you did there with the left, I want to see that same thing happen with the right when you enter in with your right hand.
First off, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this hand right here. What I want you to do is I want you to close that pinky and ring finger into the middle finger. That will make you much more efficient. It will actually save you 1 or 2 seconds per 100. So after that, then we go in right here. I really like your entry. And you come in, the pinky's still out as it's in the water, which is fine. It looks like you're pulling straight back. Although right here, keep in mind that this hand right here, I want those fingertips to enter in first. It looks as if you're slapping the water with your wrist and forearm. I want you to come in at a slightly higher angle, and that will help you be more hydrodynamic. Then eventually what happens is when we come over here and we come back around, I'm going to pause it right here. Body is not completely straight. I want your arms a little bit more straight out this way, but as you can see, there's a little bit of an angle here. Try to make it a little bit straight. You might have to squeeze your biceps a little bit closer to your ears. I want you to look down a little bit more.
Let's first talk about the angle of your knee. If I were to draw a line up from your knee, up over to your hip, that angle looks great. Anywhere between 140 or 137 and 145 is just great. I'm really happy with that. So if we were to check your right foot at 3 o'clock, where you come around right there, I do like how your knee position is right where your big toe connects to your foot, right there. So I do like where your seat is, so you don't need to move it front or back, but you may need to move it forward a smidge when we do make this potential adjustment. Now let's talk about why. Let's talk about this angle right here. That is a little bit obtuse. I would potentially like to bring you more down, slamming the front end a little bit. That's going to help you become more aerodynamic, because if you take out some spacers here, that's going to drop your shoulders down a little bit. That's going to help move your shoulders right here. It's going to help move your shoulders this way a little bit, which will be good and make you more aero. As we know, things that make us faster are rolling resistance, so air pressure, type tires that you have, body to weight ratio, and then obviously aerodynamics as a whole. Take these spacers out, and then we'll go from there. That'll help bring your shoulders forward. You might need to put the seat forward a smidge, but if your hamstrings are flexible enough, that shouldn't be an issue. You might feel a little bit more pressure there in the lower back, so we're going to have to find a happy medium there. If it is too much, then we can back it off a little bit. One last thing is, when you do bring the handlebars down, try to make sure that we have an angle of your arms that are still slanted upwards just a little bit, so most of the pressure is just in front of your elbows on your extension pads. Other than that, it looks great. Keep it up, and thanks for listening.
Here we have a few angles laid out. First off, the changes that I'd like to make. I'd like to do something with that right there. Let's try to flip that neck piece over, which is right there, so that it gets angled down this way a little bit more. And if you want to angle your aero bars up a little bit more, you can actually keep them angled up so your hands are still right about there, but I want you to get even lower, so your elbows are going to drop down quite a bit. And I like the angle of your knee, so I want to try to keep that about the same, but I know it's going to put a little bit more pressure on your hamstrings when we drop down, and put some pressure on your lower back when we drop
this whole system down. So let's drop this front end down. We have the stats here, and then a couple things I wanted to go over is if we notice, look at your arm position. I do like the twist in your thoracic. It does look much better. I also do like the line right here. This line is good. You're right around 90 degrees, slightly sharper than 90 degrees. 80 degrees is just about perfect. One thing I will request is that on the back end of your run, so right there, I would like this elbow right here to actually come up a bit higher, maybe right about here instead, and I think that would be great. Let's take a look, go through this again. It looks like your center of gravity, you're landing out right underneath your center of gravity, which is great, where your foot's landing. So I'm happy with that. If you want to lean forward a little bit more, that would be great. I do like your wrist position. That looks good as well. You do look very efficient and fluid. Thank you.
There you have it. I hope you learned something. Now it's time to smash that like, click the subscribe, tick the little bell, and let's get this fitness. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at fastesttransition@gmail.com. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and click here or click here. I'll put the annotation at the end. If you want to figure out how to get your own analysis done, go ahead and click the links below. Till next time, later.